All right, guys. So I said I was gonna do a second video before today because I gotta go. But I wanted to get this out the way. I wanted to get this out the way because also I'm gonna be sharing this video with one of my close friends. So shout out to you. Don't have to say your name. You know exactly who you are because I'm gonna send this video to you. So I wanted to do this video. And it's a more broader topic of what we're gonna be talking about today. And it's mostly about like Hollywood directors and actors and actresses not being able to take in criticism as far as like the products that they put out. So, and this is my thumbnail for my video. This is going to be the thumbnail. It says obviously public opinion on the left, film critics on the right, directors and actors not effing listening. So that is my thumbnail. And let's just get into it. So the reason why I wanted to do this video is because and this has been going on for a long time, but it's just something where it's just like it has irritated me to a point where it's like, okay, I feel like this needs to be a more broader conversation, right? And I wanted to give different examples because this obviously started from Thor Love and Thunder and Taika Waititi and his response to critics not liking how Thor is being handled now and his like, I guess witty response or something like that. So I wanted to give different examples of how directors, actors, and actresses, how like when the audience turns on them, or when they start to see that the product is not what it used to be, all of a sudden it's like either they shift the blame or they try to distract or try to bring up things that have nothing to do with what we are talking about or the criticism that we have of the film and try to make it into something that it's not, right? So I actually have three articles. So this particular article and two more articles, and I have a video to show you about how directors, actors, actresses cannot take criticism from the people that actually watch their movies and watch their shows and from film critics, okay? So this is from Sophie Turner. If y'all remember the disastrous season 8 of Game of Thrones, it was terrible. Even season 7 low key was kind of terrible too. But so this was Sophie Turner's, like I said, they love to shift the blame. They love to shift blame. They like to distract us. They like to think, oh well, we put this many hours into the set. It's like, girl, we're not talking about the set. We're talking about the storyline. We're talking about the plot. We're talking about the writing for what happened in season 8 of Game of Thrones. So I got different examples. Trust me, I did my research on this. Because I remember when she said this, and at the time, I didn't really felt like it needed a thorough response from me or to make a video at that time, especially because at that time I wasn't making YouTube videos. But I feel like I wanted to bring everything into perspective so y'all understand what I'm talking about as far as like Hollywood not being... It seems like Hollywood now, it seems so thick, like thin skinned, like everything they take into like, oh my god, y'all guys are just so ungrateful, we put this many hours into work, this much money goes into this. And it's like they care more about the visual than the actual like. And mind you, the visuals sometimes are terrible. I'm gonna get to Marvel in a second as far as their CGI. Sometimes the visuals don't be looking that up to par, but like they care more about the visuals and the, oh my god, the set these people put this much time into the set. And it's just like, okay girl, we also came for the freaking storyline. We came to see what y'all guys are about to say, what you guys are about to do, and it needs to make sense. So after people gave a lot of criticism to season 8 of Game of Thrones, it says here Sophie Turner hits back at critics of Game of Thrones, particularly those who signed a petition to have season 8 to be rewritten by new writers. One of the oldest characters in the show, Sansa Stark, who was played by Sophie Turner, survived the whole show, finally become yada yada. Let me just get to her response because I know it's a little bit too much. So there's her response. Because I remember at this time people were making petitions. They were saying like they hated the show, they hated the last season. It was terrible. They hated what they did to Daenerys. So it says here, honestly, I'm not surprised. People have always had an idea in their heads of how they want the show to finish. So when it doesn't go their liking, they start to speak up about it and rebel. One thing about Game of Thrones that has always been amazing is, in fact, that there's always been crazy twists and turns from right from season one, with Ned Stark's beheading, so Daenerys becoming something of a mad queen shouldn't be such a negative thing for fans. It's a shock for sure, but I think it's just because it hasn't gone their way. All of these petitions and things like that, I think it's disrespectful to the crew and the writers and the filmmakers who have worked tirelessly over 10 years and 11 months shooting the last season. Like 50 something night shoots. So many people work so hard on it. And for people to just rubbish it because it's not what they want just seems disrespectful. You see how they like to shift things? You see how they like to distract and try to make it seem into something that is not, right? We're talking, it's like right here when they're talking, when she's talking about Daenerys turning into the Mad Queen, things like that. I would listen personally. I would have no issue if she was turning into the Mad Queen, but they should have built it up into that. They may, honestly, I have to be honest with y'all. To me, Daenerys did not seem like a person who was turning mad or turning. They didn't give that indication, so it's like, for that to be like a whole like a whole 180, 360, whatever you want to call it, all of a sudden she's a crazy person. You mean to tell me, boom, all of a sudden she's mad? I'm sorry, that's not believable. And it's like, you see, she's making it seem as if we had an issue with the set, or we had an issue with the CGI, or the people who worked hard on the set to the. No, boo, we had an issue with the writing. We had an issue with the writing. That's the part. That's what we need to discuss. Because the shit that was going on in seasons, particularly season 7, it started in season 7 to season 8. It was not making no sense. And this is the issue why I have with some of these actors and actresses who can't take fucking criticism. Because they make it seem as if they're the only ones that's putting, that's the thing too. That's the thing that I hate the most. They make it seem as if they're the only ones that are putting in the work. It's like, sweetie, we're the ones who take up money out of our paychecks to put it into these subscriptions to HBO, to Netflix, to Hulu, to Parliament, to ID Discovery. We put our money into these things to watch your product, to watch you, to put money into your pockets. We're taking money out of our pockets to put it in your pockets. So don't make it seem as if, oh yeah, we're working tirelessly. Yeah, sweetie, we're also working tirelessly too. We work 9 to 5 jobs. We also want to be entertained too. Anyway, next article. Now, what's his name? Camille Nanjian. What? Excuse me. Sorry, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing his name wrong. Now, Eternals. This movie got a lot of criticism. Okay, it got a lot of criticism. It got a lot of flack. Personally, for me, I hated this film. I went to go watch it in theaters. I don't like. I'm actually surprised it was that bad. Because it's like, you had so many powerful characters in that movie. And I think the issue, okay, I feel like had all those characters had their own individual movies and origin stories where it was fleshed out more, and then you bring them together into like the Eternals. It's like the same thing what they did with the Avengers, you know? You gave Captain America his own film, you gave Iron Man his own film, you gave Thor his own film, you gave who else? Who else got their own film? Hulk. And then that's when you bring them together in the Avengers. And I felt like that should have been what this was, because this movie was not fleshed out right. It was all over the place. It was all over the place, and it should have never been what it was. So so his character, honestly, I kind of liked his character. He was a little bit funny in the film. So instead of, focusing on the topic at hand about why people had an issue with the film, about the characters not being fleshed out enough, and you just it was just this, and some of the CGI stuff was not good in the film. Of course, they have to shift it to, oh my God, LGBTQ. And listen, I'm not saying that there aren't some homophobic Marvel fans or things like that. Of course there are, and I'm not minimizing that kind of thing, because I feel like that's if they're upset about LGBTQ characters, then they can kick rocks. But I feel like the overall like feel of what the audience wanted was a more fleshed out storyline, especially with the individual characters. You know what I mean? Everything just felt mumbo jumbo. You know what I mean? So he ended up saying that the only reason why there was a lot of criticism and the audience and critics didn't hate the movie is because of there was an LGBT character in the film they made out. I just think that while yes, there probably were some people who felt that type of way, but I just feel like that's also disingenuous to say that that was the only reason why people had an issue with it. Because personally, for me, I have to be honest, I feel like a majority of people had an issue with the pacing, with the storylines, with the writing, with the CGI. And I have to keep it a buck. I have to keep it a buck. And I know if there was any kind of bigotry within the fans, I will call it out as I'm calling it out right now. Because I do believe there are some homophobic fans, but I don't think that was the overall, issue that a majority of people had with this movie. So this is what he said. He says, okay, so Camille isn't concerned about criticism regarding LGBT representation in Marvel's Eternals. Let me go to his quote because I'm not trying to read this whole damn article. Okay. So it says here, he's married. He's got a family. And that is just part of who he is. And wait, where is his quote? For me, it's very important to show how loving and beautiful a queer family is. Yeah, so they're just going into like, I guess in a way you can say that they're gaslighting. That the only issue that Marvel fans or critics had with the film was that it has to do with a gay character, but I just feel like, I don't know, I just feel like that's disingenuous to say. It's while there is those kind of people, but I just don't think that was the majority, especially when you look at the critiques. Like, go on Rotten Tomatoes, go on the Google reviews about why people feel the way that they feel. A majority of that is not because of sexuality or LGBTQ or anything like that. So we're gonna move on. And this is what I mean by shift blame and doing all those things. And there's the last article here. And y'all already know Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry. Oh God. Oh God. Oh God. Let me just start off with the nice. Let me be nice for now. I was a huge fan of Tyler Perry when I was like younger. Like, I used to watch his plays. I used to watch his movies. That's when I feel like Tyler Perry actually put a little bit of effort into his things, because I just felt like he used to, I guess, showed some realities of like our community in his films, which is like, but I just feel like now, I don't know. I just feel like now with as time goes on, Tyler Perry gives me like caricature of like the black community. He gives me like, I feel like Medea is now a caricature. Like, I'm sorry, like she's like it's just his films are no longer funny. It's just, it feels forced. And then, the writing for some of these films are just cringy as hell. Like, it's just like, so he obviously got some criticism with some things. So let's see what he had to say. We've all been drafted on the worst reality TV show that there's been. None of us have been paid for it. Okay. For the last 4.5 years, we've been dragged through the ringer, and that's completely exhausting. So many people are exhausted at the division. They hate the bed. Okay, no. That's not what he had to say. The actor-writer said this year has proved that negativity screams positivity whispers. So his efforts to show how to move forward with such an uncertain time, yada, yada, yada. Let me see. Okay, so I feel like now this is where the audience comes in. When the topic of his critics came up during the interview, the 51-year-old did not hold back. His films have grossed millions of dollars over the years and just have designated $1 billion by Forbes earlier this year. Okay, so this is what he had to say, and it's typical. It's typical. When I hear that kind of stuff, I'm thinking, are y'all looking at the ratings? Do y'all understand? The audience is in love with this. Because he says, because if you're complaining about my writing, you're not my audience. My audience loves the way that it's done and the way stories are told. And from the beginning, it's always been about being true to them. So, I've never seen a lot of it, but it does get to me. But if it does get to me, I look for truth in it. There's a lot of it is just vitriolic. That's because I'm going to hate on on him because he's Tyler Perry. I get that, but when there's truth and criticism, like why did he do this, and this? I go, let me think about it. So Tyler Perry is one of those where it's like if there's an issue with the product or anything like that, he's one of those where it's like, oh well, I'm still making money though. I'm still making money though. I'm still getting them residual checks. I'm still getting this. I'm still getting that. So it's just like, honestly, I don't even want to waste my time on Tyler Perry. Let me just exit because it's just like I don't even watch his product no more. I do not watch him no more. And okay, let me go to Elizabeth Banks because she's the last person. This is actually the last video. So if y'all remember, Elizabeth Banks did the Charlie's Angels reboot. If y'all don't, from 2 years ago, and that movie flopped hard. And I heard the reviews. I didn't go see it. I heard the reviews. I heard what they said. They said, yo, it's awful. God awful. On both sides. Men, women, everybody was saying that the movie was awful. So this was Elizabeth Banks' response. And it's so typical. So here.
When you think about what has been put out in media throughout history, it's mostly from a cisgendered white male perspective. And so everything that's not that feels a little bit fresher. So it feels like pretty good business. My real plea is for men to have enough empathy to go see movies starring women. Because I've been asked to go see movies starring men my entire life, and happily have done so. And I don't know why men don't return the fucking favor.
Okay, if y'all want to watch that full, because I just wanted to show y'all that clip, because I'm not even trying to torture y'all guys by watching that full video. It's like a 3 minutes, close 4 minute video. So the reason why she says that her film flopped is because men didn't go see her film. And let me tell you something right now. How I found out that the movie was bad and it was not good was through a male film critic who went to go see the movie. He went to, and mind you, this man, his name is Chris Stuckman. If y'all don't know him, I think y'all do because he has like over a million followers. So Chris Stuckman, he's someone who I follow, and he's someone who I honestly take into account of his reviews on films. He seems very unbiased. So I actually really, really like his account on films. So I follow him. I see, and sometimes I actually will I'll watch movies based on what he says is good or not. Because I do feel like he's very balanced as a film critic. And he said that the Charlie's Angels reboot was not giving and he was as respectful as can be. Like he did not make it into a sexism thing. He did not make it into anything like that. So I just feel like it's this blame shift. It's this like, oh well, men are not seeing the films. Oh, but women are not doing that. It's just like people. Okay, when I feel like any gender who goes to want to go see a film, they want to like the film. They don't go to hate watch. I feel like that's weird as hell. I'm sorry. I do not go and why would I go to a movie where I hate the characters or like the actors or actresses in the film and I hate the director just to hate watch it or not watch it at all because I don't like women being in films. It's just or men being in films. That's just weird to me. And plus I'm taking out money out of my own pockets to go watch the film. It's just So I just feel like that was a poor excuse as to why the movie bombed, why the Charlie's Angels reboot bombed. And obviously, this is going back to Thor: Love and Thunder. Of course, Thor is, I guess it's still the number one movie somewhere, but I don't think it's still like the lowest. Let me see. It's still the lowest on, let me see, y'all. Let me see. Let's type it in. News. Thor: Love and Thunder and Bracelet. It says here Thor 4 dives as Top Gun 2. Yikes. Dives. I'm not surprised, child. Thor Love and Thunder earned 6.398 million, negative 54%. Wow. On its third Friday, bringing its 15-day domestic total. Yeah, I heard that Top Gun Marvick was eating the girls up in the box office. But anyway, I just want to summarize it all and sum it all up so we can all go from here. I just want honestly, if these actors and directors and writers and all these people on the set feel some type of way when they get criticism, I feel like these people should just listen to what the public are saying, because at the end of the day, the public are the ones who are the fans who go watch your films. Just do better. Just do better. Put more effort into your product. Get a better writing team. You know what I mean? Like, stop trying to shift the blame. Stop trying to gaslight us into thinking, oh, yeah, y'all are hating, but we put this many hours amount of our set, Sophie Turner. Because that really, oh my God, Sophie Turner really irritated me when she said that. That was really irritating. But I just feel like if you don't want people to have some constructive or negative criticism of your product, have a better product. Period. Because I just feel like if I'm putting like what, $12 every month to watch HBO, to watch a good ass show, then and mind you, when it comes to Game of Thrones, the Game of Thrones got so much backlash. It's so much petitions that now they had to do a whole prequel of House of the Dragon, because that's how people are just like thirsty for a better storyline. And now they're gonna try to bring people who are actually fans of the books, because apparently the people who did, Dan and Dave, the ones that did Game of Thrones, they weren't really like fans of the books. So they actually got people who actually read the books, who are willing to actually talk to the author, George R.R. Martin, about how to do the show. So it's just one of those things where it's like HBO was like, okay, we heard the criticism, we're going to do better. As far as for Sophie Turner, as far as for Tyler Perry, as far as for Camille, I hope I'm saying his name right, as far as for Elizabeth Banks, if y'all feel some type of way, honestly, I don't know what else to tell y'all. Like, y'all can kiss my ass. Anyway, please like, comment, and subscribe.